In the Philippines, not everyone has the absolute right to marry the person they love. This includes the LGBTQ plus community, since same-sex marriage or civil unions are not recognized by law. But some of the community have the option to marry abroad. How does this work for Filipinos, and how do they navigate a marriage that is not recognized in the Philippines? Hello, I'm Michelle Abad, and welcome to At Home sa Abroad, Rappler's one-stop show for everything related to the Filipino diaspora. Here we discuss topics important to Filipinos all over the world, from concerns and welfare of overseas Filipino workers, to celebrating Pinoy success stories, to reconnecting with cultural roots, at iba pa. For today's episode, we have the pleasure of speaking with singer-songwriter Nica del Rosario and actress Justine Peña, who got married in Australia in August 2022. I'll be asking some questions first, but later we will also be having an Ask Me Anything portion on the Rappler Communities app. So if you're interested to learn about the process they went through, download the app via the QR code shown on the screen and join the conversation on the Overseas Filipinos channel. So let's get started. Nica and Justine, welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks for having us.
Of course, thank you for making the time as well. So before we get into the process of, the whole marriage thing, I'd also like to know, what's the story of the two of you?
Go ahead.
We were college block. Nope, we're not.
Batchmates.
We were college batchmates. We were in the same course, but we didn't really super know each other. We weren't friends. We just had a lot of common friends, like really common friends.
Know of each other, parang ganun.
Yeah.
We say hi.
We would say
we
hi.
pass each other.
Yeah, she has memories of us saying hi and conversing. I don't remember that anymore. But yeah, parang common friends. And then it was only after college, when we were working already, that one of our common friends invited us to sing for their sister's wedding. So parang, who are my two friends who sing? Ganon. So she invited Nica and I to sing. And then that's when we kind of started.
Oh, okay. So the love story started with a wedding, working in a wedding.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So how was that like? Because since, you just know of each other, acquaintances from college, and then suddenly you're working together, singing together. What was that like?
We had to rehearse for like a week.
Yeah, we had to rehearse for a week. And then I was single at that time. And I was in a very, very happy dating phase. And then I was like, okay, I like her. Let's go for this one. I know I'm very decisive with that. It's like, yes, let's go. So I think that's how we ended up starting.
Yeah. I was dating someone, but it wasn't exclusive.
Okay. How long ago was this? Yeah.
2015.
Okay. You were saying.
No.
Yeah, I think at that time I had to be very aggressive because, so now it's a lot better, but when we were, in college or parang bi erasure was a very big thing. And there, parang pansexual wasn't even a word that was very much used at that time. So regardless of me saying already that, yes, I'm open, ganyan, I kind of had to convince her pa.
I heard she was bi in college. I didn't believe it.
Oo. Medyo walang naniwala. Pati yung friend namin na nag-invite for us to sing, hindi naniwala. So marami ako natanggap na warnings na, huwag mo lukuhin si Nica, mabait yan. I was like, anong ginagawa? Yeah, so it was a bunch of that. And it was only much later na they realized, they're still together. Bi na talaga siya.
Okay. Were you guys out to your families at that time?
I was.
I was not, but I had this whole idea that parang I was telling people about it. So I kind of thought that people took it seriously, but they didn't pala. So I had to come out in a way because yun nga, parang apparently they all thought I was just saying it. Parang ganon. Parang yung...
You were just being quirky.
Oo, I was just being quirky. Or yung token, the straight girl who says she might be bi, parang ganon. Or pansexual. Those kinds of tropes, parang people were thinking that. So I had to kind of tell my parents when we were dating already. Parang after a while, I realized na, okay, ang tagal-tagal ko nang siyang dinadala and kasama ko siya palagi. Tapos parang after a while, na-realize ko, iniisip pa rin nila na roommates kami. Okay. sige, I think I need to have this conversation with them. So, yeah.
Okay. So like how long before it got like really serious na parang like I really want to be with this person like in the long run?
Marupok siya eh.
I got serious really fast, kaya that's why I wrote Tala. So,
It's about just
yeah, Tala
Oh,
is about.
okay. Ngayon ko lang nalaman. It's so nice. Okay.
Parang Tala was at the very start of our relationship. We've been dating a couple of months.
1 month!
2 naman. I wrote it November.
Okay, I don't know dates. But yeah. And I was used to always taking things slow. Tapos biglang forever na yung hinahanap after 2 months. So,
She needed more time.
I needed more time. So 3 months. 3 months?
We were official in mga Feb. We started dating October.
Yeah. Okay.
At the time that Tala came out, did you know that it was about you?
Yes.
Yeah.
As in yun, parang my thoughts about it were like, hala, serious na siya. Wait lang, kailangan ko mag-isip.
Well, by the time Tala came out, we were together now officially.
Ah, okay.
It came out 2016.
Yeah, but I
But
heard
you did
it na-
hear
yeah.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, but that wasn't even the first song. That was, I think, when were we together na, basta for Valentine's, parang nag-gift siya sa akin ng song. And it was about like, never ending. Parang ako, andun ako sa, we just started, it hasn't been 6 months. So yeah, I was trying to change gears and stuff. But I think at that point, I mean, when I do get into a relationship with someone, it's serious naman.
Okay. So what led to the decision to get married na? Did anyone propose? Or was it a mutual decision?
She proposed. But it's more of, I've always thought about it na parang, hindi naman kasi like, hindi naman siya legal dito. So it's like, it's more of a, it must be nice kind of
Yeah.
thought. Pero, she doesn't like surprises. She's very particular. So, nag-usap kami na if ever may magpo-propose sa amin, it has to be just. Because, yun nga, I'm more of a romantic. She's more of a planner. So,
She likes to be whisked away. I'm more of like, okay, what are the logistics? Ganun.
and for the longest time, she wasn't ready.
Or parang, I think 2 years in, I remember I talked to my best friend about it. 2 years in, and I told him, it's like, oh, I want to propose to Nica. Tas parang siya yung nagsabi. Again, at that time, they were still not sure if I was really just faking it. Matagal to convince people. So he was like, okay, it's only been 2 years. Maybe think about it first. And then we did naman. Tapos, I think pre-pandemic, I was gonna do it na, tas na-delay kasi nagka-pandemic. So literally, the ring did not get to the Philippines. Parang ganon. Kasi nag-close lahat. So we had to wait and stuff. So it was only when things started to open up again that I was able to plan stuff. Kasi mahirap din yung pagpaalam and all of that. Tapos over phone pandemic.
Yeah.
Tas parang nasa studio lang kami. So medyo impossible na magpaalam ako sa parents niya na hindi niya malalaman.
So when did you propose mga pala?
2021.
She knows dates. I don't know. So 2021, that was October.
Yeah, because we started dating October 2015. October. So, she proposed the same day, parang 2021.
Okay. So was there like a plan already for Australia? Like why Australia in particular?
We made a spreadsheet on the places where we can get married.
Yeah.
Australia was just because I had a friend who was getting married in Australia, and she was a college friend. And no college kami, I promised her that I was gonna sing at her wedding. I didn't know she was gonna get married in Australia. So parang I would take, since we have to go to Australia, we have to go to my friend's wedding. Edi let's just get married there para mas matipid.
Okay.
Because our plan was Vancouver.
Because she had relatives.
Because I had
there.
relatives in Vancouver.
I see. Okay.
But when we realized that we had to go to Sydney and then we're gonna go pa to Vancouver, parang it's extra gastos.
So for the record, hindi na siya pwede mag-promise nakakanta sa wedding unless merong like terms na sa
outside.
Pilipinas lang. But there, it was more of a practical thing because getting married abroad was technically already impractical for us. So medyo masyado nang magastos kung mag-iipon kami for Canada tapos mag-iipon pa kami for Australia.
So yeah, we didn't get to choose na the date. It's just a couple of days after my friend's wedding.
And your friend, did they pay for your flight going there?
No.
Kasi,
No.
Okay. Akala ko. Kasi
They gave us flowers though. Like,
They didn't give it. So we recycled their flowers.
I think they gave it to deck so para may bouquet man lang kami.
Oo, wala talaga kaming planan. As in, the night before, yung mga centerpieces nila, inuwi namin sa Airbnb namin. Tapos parang, gagawa tayong bouquet and boutonnieres. Ganun.
Okay. And like for our viewers who might not know, is your marriage recognized here in the Philippines or not?
No, it's not.
No. In fact, right when we got home, on the way home, diba?
We had to be single again.
Okay, so like even when you write documents, you have to put single.
Yeah, here, here we're single. But in countries where it's legal, we're married.
Yeah. So the week that we got married in Australia and then the flight back home, we already had to fill out single again in immigration. So parang medyo slap in the face kind of, yay, we're married. And then pagka-uwi, parang, ay, hindi pwede.
How did that feel? Like going back and then immediately having to write single after your wedding?
Oh, I wrote a song about it.
Song about
What's
it.
the song?
It's called Balang Araw. So
Okay. Well,
like that
sure to give it a
that
listen.
came out of that moment where we had to like write single again because it was very bittersweet.
Yeah.
We just got married a couple of days ago. Tapos
Exactly.
we're still single.
Yeah. Essentially, we're counting our wins, but it doesn't mean that these things don't sting. Kind of thing.
Were you able to have any loved ones there with you in Australia?
Yeah, we had 3 guests. So my brother, her sister, and my cousin.
Okay.
That's it.
Buti naman, but then like we're gonna get to your wedding later on in Cavite, no? But then yeah, buti at least a few people were
Yeah,
able
because we needed 2 witnesses.
Right.
Yeah, and I was game for like strangers talaga. Because we didn't...
She wanted to get like random strangers off the street to witness our wedding.
Kasi we didn't want to impose the cost on anyone. Tapos hindi rin namin mababayaran, di ba? So, parang yun talaga yung original plan. Tapos yung siblings na lang namin yung nag-volunteer na, okay, when is this? We're going. It's like, okay.
Okay. So diba you guys had to go abroad because there's no same-sex marriage or civil unions for queer couples here. So if that had only been an option, would you have pursued that instead? And what are your thoughts on, the country not having such an option, even civil unions?
We definitely would have just gotten married here.
And 100% based on our wallets. Parang ganon. Absolutely, we would have gotten married here.
Yeah. It's sad that because and as a community, I think everybody collectively just wants to have rights. Like they don't even want the church weddings; they just want to be able to live as a married couple and enjoy like the privileges of being a married couple. And like something as simple as being in the ICU and God forbid something happens to your partner. And, conjugal property.
Yeah, that sort of thing. You build a life with someone, and then if something happens to the other person, it doesn't guarantee that you get to keep that life. So apart from mourning the loss, may chance pa na lalabanan mo yung random relatives from whatever like far regions of the country because they actually have more claim to that property or whatever that ownership is than you. So ang hirap if you think about it. So very basic ano lang talaga. As in, again, logistical things. It's not even a jab at religion or anything like that. It's ano lang talaga, practicality sake. Pag may ma-ICU, may ma-ano, you can't guarantee that these medical facilities will acknowledge your union.
I'm curious, like, how come you did take the step that you had to spend pa rin, you had to go through all of those logistical details in Australia for a marriage that wouldn't be recognized here? What made you do that?
Well, ako po, I told her, parang, it's just a nice, comforting thought that somewhere around the world we're legally married.
Yeah.
If, I don't know, if we decide to leave the country someday, at least we'll be recognized as a married couple if we do move to a country where it's legal.
Yeah. So also when you travel, then you can acknowledge yourself as married partners. So if there's any emergency while you travel, you're counted as each other's partner na talaga. So again, very practical stuff, and at least it opens doors for us that if we do want to move somewhere.
Yeah. We actually have friends who they got married in the States. Now they're living in Canada as a
Okay. And I'm sure you've done your research then on which countries will recognize your
Yeah.
marriage. Yeah.
May spreadsheet yun.
Okay. So, how long have you been married? Like almost 2 years na, no?
Yeah,
Yeah.
this August, 2 years.
Yeah. So, how has married life been so far?
It's not very different from
It's not very...
pre-marriage. Because we were living together na before we... And, since it's not legal here,
Yeah.
there's not much difference.
I would say the biggest change is being able to, I think, the family responsibilities. So now that we're married and, like, for example, with her family, I'm more accepted now there, then I think the year we got married was the first year I was invited to everything na. Ganon. So that was a big thing for us because I think with a lot of straight couples, medyo parang pag long-term na sila, considered partner and all of that, sa amin medyo matagal pa talaga.
Because my family is very close, but also very traditional. So parang if you get married, that's when you accept their partner as family.
So it was more of that. That was a big change for us. Kasi parang, okay, kasama, okay, may trip tayo, okay, great.
So I have a clingy family. Hers not so much. So
That's interesting,
it's an
though.
adjustment.
Yeah, it's interesting, though, Nika, how you mentioned your family's traditional, but they also accepting you as, the way
It took a while.
Yeah.
It was a process, but yeah, eventually she's family now to my
Okay.
family. So
Yeah.
It's good.
it's nice.
Yeah, and it was I would say it was a really slow process, but yun nga, like what she was saying, I think last night lang, like you could really see them try. Parang ganon. Because I think we have to acknowledge that they are from a different generation, they have different belief systems and all of that. So parang we wanted to give them the time. At the same time, meron kaming rule na if it's your family, ikaw magde-decide kung how you want to go about it kind of thing.
Okay. So you guys got married again, diba, in a ceremony in Cavite last year. So what was it like to relive your wedding day here at home?
Oh, I mostly wanted that ceremony here kasi yun nga when we got married in Australia, tatlo lang yung guests namin, and I missed my parents and my other relatives and our friends, and so it was a nice feeling to exchange vows again and have all that be witnessed by a lot of important people in our lives. So I mean, it's nice. We had an entourage and everything, and we did all the stuff that straight people did at weddings. It's something that I never thought I would get to experience. So it's a nice feeling.
Yeah, I mean, when we had the wedding in Australia, yun nga, like what we were saying, it was a slow process for the families. But after a while, when yun nga, they started accepting it na, and then we realized we really wanted to be able to celebrate it with them because they are very, very important to us. We wanted to be able to share that with them. So essentially, parang we wanted to be able to kind of write our own story in that sense na, okay, kahit bawal dito, we're still gonna do it just so we can celebrate with all of you. Like, again, not for a religious thing, not for anything. We just wanted to be able to share that experience with the people who kind of helped us on our journey together also.
Yeah. And I watched the SDE. And like, when you guys were doing your vows, which naiyak ako ng kuslap. When you guys were doing the vows, was it the same vows as in Australia, or was it new vows?
It was different.
Yeah.
I don't know. Mine was mostly different.
Same.
Yeah, yours din naman.
That's
Yours
fine.
was in Tagalog, which was
Not
surprising.
just.
Okay.
Sabi niya kasi tatagalugin niya yung sa kanya. So, trinay ko din. Nag-attempt din ako. Yun. Meron lang isang paragraph. We changed it mostly because when we were in Australia, at least for me, parang when we were there, it felt like us against the world with a few select people.
Literally 3 people.
So it felt like this is us, like stating our claim to the world, ganon. When it was in front of everyone, there was like this feeling of overwhelming support. Na, you couldn't brush that aside even as you were planning and all of that. Like, as tiring and as a hassle it is to plan that kind of an event or a wedding, you acknowledge the fact that there are so many people who are there because they're there with you, which was a stark contrast from being in Australia.
Okay. And then maybe just for our viewers who might be confused that there was a wedding here, who officiated the ceremony? Because I know there are like progressive churches. No, was it a progressive church that did it?
Yeah, it's called LGBT Christian Church. So it's not a legal wedding. It's mostly like a spiritual, holy ceremony. So it's called, we're not allowed to call it a wedding. because
Ano,
it's
we're not
illegal.
allowed.
We're not allowed to call it a wedding.
Right.
So we call it a holy union. It was officiated by Reverend CJ Agbayani, who's the founder of the church.
Oh, we're not allowed to call it holy matrimony. Yun yung, like, they're very, very clear about that. And in fact, anyone can have a holy union. Parang,
Even straight couples.
straight couples can have holy. Usually, pag renewal of vows, they can have a holy union, that sort of thing. So it's something that is extended to everyone, and that's the only thing that we actually have access to. There are some, they don't go that route at all, and it's just like a friend, and then you just exchange vows. But we wanted that kind of an experience for us also.
Okay. So we know that your weddings, like both of you guys posted them, and there were other news outlets that also posted about it. So it's very in the public eye. We were wondering, like, have you received any form of hostility or discrimination over your choice to get married, and how have you dealt with it?
It's mostly bashers in the comment section.
Yeah, that one we don't really expose ourselves too much. I would say the most was that, like, I think in contrast to her family, that's really come a long way. I think my parents are still not there, so they didn't go to the wedding. And then because they couldn't get themselves to go, I decided to not invite the rest of my family na lang, relatives. I mean, even if I know some of them are very supportive. Mostly because ayoko nang na sila yung mag-away-away in case parang, oh, bakit hindi kayo pumunta ganon? So at our Filipino wedding, it was just my sisters. So in contrast to her giant clan, it was just me and my sisters and my sister's now husband. You know?
Okay.
So I guess when we got married in Australia, more of like the week of our wedding, I had an uncle who wanted to set me up with someone.
Okay.
When they found out that I was getting married to a girl, they were like, let's take her out. Let's introduce them to ganyan-ganyan. Tapos parang, I know how to meet boys. So, mas ganon. And we
But from
tried...
strangers,
From
it's really just comment section and stuff.
The ones who get emboldened in the comment section, mas ganon.
And then like, but the uncle, like, ano yun, like you already spent everything, like the date was set, and then like
We were literally, like, he wanted to take me out, or he wanted my cousins to take me out and set me up with someone in Australia on the week that we were gonna get married.
okay.
It's parang what, So, yung very, very, it's almost absurd for us to think na parang, ha, talaga ba? Bukas na eh, yung parang gano'n. Like, hindi ba ako nakakita ng boys? You know what I mean? So, stuff like that.
Okay. Sige, so I think now we can open our Ask Me Anything portion. So we do have some chats coming in on our Rappler Communities app. So I'll read this one. Someone said, hello, Nica and Justine. For those planning to be married, how much should they budget kaya for expenses? And what nuances or differences should they expect in terms of paperwork?
Is this for the Philippines or?
For abroad.
Maybe for abroad.
Right. Okay. For abroad,
Nasa mga two, no?
to what?
So, we were 250,000.
Oh, yeah.
I would say, for Australia at least, the budget that we allotted for it
For
was
everything na.
For everything.
Flights, accommodation.
As in, even our
Pocket money and food.
we allotted around 250. That was for an Airbnb for a week of being there. In Australia, if you are less than a party of 50, you can get married for free in the parks. You just have to pay for a celebrant, the person who's gonna preside.
And there's no difference or nuance that it's specifically in Australia. Pero I feel like in other countries also where it's legal, like there's no difference if you're a same-sex couple. As in, it's literally like all the paperwork is the same as a straight couple. getting married.
So sa amin yung minimum yung 250, that's with the visa, with the flight, that sort of thing. And again, that's like super budget-friendly clothes and all of that.
Yeah.
And no difference.
But that's like, kasi you said that getting married is free if you're under a party of 50 now. So that means the 250 doesn't even include
The venue.
or wedding expense or ano ba? Like what were
We spent on
The celebrant is
the
a
celebrant.
big expense.
okay.
At that time, it was, their going rate was around 900 Australian dollars. But that was in 2022.
22.
So,
But siya yung nag-handle ng lahat, like the paperwork and everything. Parang when we got there, we just had to get married and sign the marriage certificate. So she handled everything else.
Yeah. But like the logistics expenses are like malaki on their own, diba?
Yeah, like
Yeah.
flights
Yeah.
and we were there for like a week. So
flights, accommodations, that sort of thing. So that's what we were able to budget.
so pwede siyang lumiit if you stay for
Shorter trip,
shorter
parang
trip.
ganun. Pero not by much kasi you're just gonna lessen a couple of days, but the bulk that you're spending are the flights and the celebrant.
Okay. Sige, so we have our next question. They're asking, what are your tips for similar same-sex couples that plan to get married abroad? Even simple tips, practical tips, or mga ganun.
I don't just
I
be
would-
ready. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Like be ready with requirements because it's not a super tedious process, but there's still stuff that you have to get ready, like birth certificate,
Visa application.
Yeah, that was a long process. The visa applications, passports and stuff like that. It's just easier if you have everything all together.
Another is you have to be really diligent with research because the thing is with the queer community, we really count our wins. So sometimes it's you're not seeing the whole story. Like for example, for some countries, it's like, oh, they now approve same-sex marriage, but it doesn't mean that they approve it for foreigners.
Like
Or-
Taiwan.
like Taiwan. Or for Taiwan, pwede na, pero kailangan you're marrying someone from Taiwan. Parang ganon. So there's a lot of details that won't likely be in an initial article about it. So you have to check talaga just how much they allow. I think there's another, what's the other?
Each
Thailand.
country, Thailand also. Parang each country has different requirements. Like I think Argentina, you have to live there for a couple of months before you can get married there.
Denmark, hindi pwede. Like we really tried to search, hence the spreadsheet.
And we looked for the easiest ones. And I think that's Australia, Canada, and the States.
The States. And then there were online options.
Yeah.
Also. Like that one can be done online through websites accredited in certain countries.
But like the online wouldn't be as fun.
Yeah. I mean, if we're thinking like on a budget talaga, kasi you would still be, technically, you would still have the marriage license from a different country. Parang ganon.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So we have our last question from our audience. I'll try to rephrase this one because like you kind of touched on this, but they're asking, was there a particular reason for choosing Australia for your wedding? But maybe I'll rephrase this since you kind of touched on it. So, would you say that of the countries that you were looking at, Vancouver, etc., US, regardless of if your friend had invited you to sing at their wedding, would you have still chosen Australia or would you have chosen somewhere else?
I would have chosen Canada because I have family there. So it's just more fun.
Yeah,
Because we have we'll have more than 3 people. But I mean, Australia was a close candidate naman.
Australia was really a close candidate. We would have just chosen Canada because if we had relatives there, then that would have cut down cost.
Yeah.
Because we could live with them.
Yeah.
There were.
So we were choosing between Vancouver and San Francisco because we also had family in San Francisco. So the only reason why Australia was like third was because we didn't know anybody there that we can live with.
Yeah, but and that kind of affected cost. But in terms of everything else, it was such an easy process to do it in Australia.
Yeah, and flights are cheaper also.
Yeah, flights are much cheaper.
Okay. And then maybe just one more thing before we end. Do you think do you see yourselves someday moving away from the country to live abroad? One of the reasons to have a marriage that's actually recognized by your host country. Do you guys have any plans of doing that?
We talk about it sometimes.
We,
But
we talk about it sometimes, but we don't have any solid plans yet because it's very important for us to be with our family here first. Especially, again, they've been showing such good support. And yun nga, very tightly knit yung family ni Nika.
yeah, I'm very clingy.
Very, So, yeah, we go on trips pa. So we want to enjoy that. Parang we do talk about it, just no solid plans yet.
Okay. And then maybe last na talaga. Like, do you guys have like maybe advice to couples that, want to take the leap to get married, but then and like they want to do it abroad, but then they're still feeling scared about, bashers or discrimination or opposition from their families. What's your advice to them?
I would say it's inevitable for you to make any kind of decision without without having at least one person not be okay with it. So it's just a matter of how strongly you feel about that decision because that's what you're gonna live with. I mean, when you choose a partner, you're kind of choosing yourself, you're choosing the love that you have and all of that. And regardless of whether or not there's outside support, that's what you can come home to pa rin.
Yeah, like at the end of the day, if you're happy, the knowledge that we had bashers and we had people who opposed our weddings still didn't affect me as much because the fact of the matter is those days were still two of the happiest days of my life. So.
Okay, I think we can end on that. Thank you so much, Nica and Justine, for your time.
Thank you.
If you have more questions for Nica and Justine, or you just want to join more discussions about the Filipino diaspora, download the Rappler Communities app, and let's continue the conversation on the Overseas Filipinos channel. Again, you're tuned into At Home sa Abroad on Rappler. I'm Michelle Abad. Thank you for listening. Happy Pride.